And on this episode of the worst leak in human history, we have this from Cosmic Book News. 28 years later, plot revealed. Ah, yes. The 28 years later trilogy. If I'm not mistaken, it says right here, the first of the new trilogy to be released very soon. One of the directors is a director from the Marvels. Oof. Box office bomb, but you know what? One bright spot. And it says right here, the 28 years later plot is revealed as actor Val Fiennes spills the beans on who is starring in the movie. I don't care about that. Let's get down to the plot. It says, Fiennes continued to explain the plot. Britain is 28 years into a terrible plague of infected people who are violent, rabid humans with a few pockets of uninfected communities. And it centers on a young boy who wants to find a doctor to help his dying mother. He leads his mother through this beautiful northern English terrain, he said, but of course, around them, hiding in forests and hills and woods, are the infected. But he finds a doctor who is a man we might think is going to be weird and odd, but actually is a force for good. What does that mean? I'm not even sure if I'm reading this correctly. A man who we might think is going to be weird and odd. This dude is smarter. Who is coaching this man to speak? I don't know. I have no idea. 28 years later, I mean, the first movie, wasn't there a scene in it where he was explaining, was Ralph Fiennes in the first one? Wait a second, I need to check something out here. Okay, it's not Ralph Philistines, but it was pretty close in my defense. But back to the movie. I don't know, man. When I hear trilogy, it's not a unique idea. I mean, don't get me wrong, zombie movies and shows, they're pretty good, but there's only so many things you can do with such a thing, with such an idea. They're all kind of the same thing. Yes, the infection is bad, but how society has devolved and all the terrible things we're doing for survival, that's actually worse. It's actually about the human experience and our selfishness, and then through the darkness, there's a certain amount of light. Yeah, we get that. That's kind of the plot of most zombie products out there. So when I see 28 years later trying to make a trilogy of it, it kind of feels like that you tried to greenlit a zombie trilogy and just were thinking, okay, what did people like? And of course, with Hollywood, devoid of anything unique and original, they decided to go through and say, okay, what was a really popular zombie product we have? Oh yeah, the 28 years later pair of movies. Those were pretty good and people liked them. Let's continue them. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to hire the woman from the Marvels. The one that blamed race, gender, and sexuality as why no one liked her piece of garbage movie. To direct, I think she directs one of them. I don't know if she directs all of them, but who cares? Who cares? Aaron Taylor Johnson's in this, Jodie Comer, I don't know who that is, and Jack O'Connell. I have to look up who these people are. Jodie Comer, I have no idea who this woman is. Jack O'Connell. Oh man, if you ever see Money Monster, that was a good movie.
You know how far $14 an hour gets you here in New York? Huh? You know how much of that is left after I pay my rent and all my fucking bills?
Okay, I might be excited for Jack O'Connell. This dude is a diamond in the rough. I have no idea what. He was also in a movie where he was like in a Japanese prison camp where he had to hold like a lunk of wood over his head, and people had to beat the shit out of him, and if he fell down, they would annihilate all the prisoners. It was a pretty good movie. Pretty damn good movie. So yeah, Jack O'Connell, good for you, man, but this might not be the trilogy for you. I don't really see this thing jumping off as the greatest. I mean, it's got the woman from the Marvels. You got Ralph Fiennes over here. It's a good start. You could start off a good franchise if you got that guy. You got Aaron Taylor Johnson, who is the next guy in Hollywood that they're trying to push, and you got my boy Jack O'Connell. You could throw in Jodie Comer in there too, and you might have something. But you can't put the woman from the Marvels in it and tell me that this thing's going to be good. You can't have a trilogy I don't think you can realistically greenlit a trilogy anymore in the world of Hollywood. Because the way these things are flopping, the way these things are, I think like aren't the Planet of the Apes movies, the new one, the Kingdom ones? I think that's going to be a trilogy coming out. The first one didn't make money. The first one bombed the box office. So how, realistically, as a studio, do you sit back and say, well, you know what? A lot of stuff we're making these days, it's not making money, it's losing interest. So let's greenlight 3 movies and just, kind of hope they do well. That's kind of the mentality of Hollywood. Is Cillian Murphy even going to be in this thing? I don't think he needs to be. He's Oppenheimer. He's an Oscar-winning actor. When you win an Oscar, you should be doing nothing else but Oscar movies going forward. You should not even remotely touch a trilogy like this. And also, if Cillian Murphy's going to be in this thing, I really have no idea if he's going to be. It's rumored that he's going to be in it. We're not going to know until this thing comes out. Is he going to be like a side character? You're paying Cillian Murphy money to have him as a side character? No, man. This should be the lead. You start off with Cillian Murphy, and then you say you got Ralph Vituni over here. Then you got that guy, and then you bring in my boy Jack O'Connell, and then you're like, you know what? We'll just put Aaron Taylor Johnson in this, and Jodie Comer, but just because we have to round it out here. I don't know, man. I don't think this thing's really going to do well at all. I don't have much interest. The last one was 28 weeks later. That was okay. Why did you skip months? That's kind of weird, right? You went from days to weeks to years. And also, from what we've seen in the first movie, with the guy that's not Ralph Fiennes's, Christopher Escalante, wasn't he with, like, the military? And they were saying, okay, I'm going to see how long it takes for the infected to die. These things are not dead by now? What are the infected doing? What are they eating? I feel like they all would have died by like the first winter. No, I don't think these things would have survived longer than a weekend at this rate. Especially now, if a movie came out, that's what I would love to see. I can understand maybe London, because you guys don't have any guns at all. You just have like billy clubs and knives over there. A zombie movie can't happen in America. Like, it would be over in an afternoon. Especially if it took place in the South. Like, can you imagine that movie? That's the movie you should make. You should make a movie, Hollywood, about the everyman in the South. Just a dude living in a cabin with a ton of guns, and he's just taking out zombies. And it's like Christmas morning for him. But who knows? Who knows if this is going to be a hit or a flop? I'm leaning on flop right now, guys. I'm leaning on this description of a plot right here certainly does not inspire any remote good feelings from me. You could have just said, hey, we're making a 28 years later movie. I could have figured this plot out. Oh, wow, you're telling me society has kind of built up a little bit. Oh, we're living in pockets of communities and the infected are still out there? Yeah, that's like every zombie product ever. This isn't even remotely a unique idea. But, in the end, what do you guys think about that?